In a quiet village, far away from the city, there lived a smart and kind girl named Grace. She was only 12 years old, with big brown eyes and a beautiful smile. Grace loved to read books and learn new things. Grace's father was a poor carpenter. He made chairs, tables, and beds to feed his family. He loved Grace very much and always told her, "One day your brain will take you far." But when Grace was just 9 years old, something very sad happened. Her father went to do a carpentry job outside the city. He said he would be back in 2 days. But he never came back alive. Instead, his dead body was brought home in a wooden box. Grace cried and cried. Her mother cried too. Life became very hard for them. Grace's mother started selling roasted corn, ground nuts, and small food items in a tray just to feed them. Every morning she would go out early to sell, while Grace went to the village primary school. Even with all the hardship, Grace never gave up. She read with candlelight. She studied under the tree when there was no light. And when exam time came, Grace came first in the whole school. One day something special happened. A letter was brought to her house. Her name was written on it. "Congratulations, Grace. You have won a full scholarship to attend Royal Future Academy, one of the best schools in the city." Grace jumped up and screamed in joy. "Mummy! Mummy! We did it!" she shouted, hugging her mother tight. Her mother knelt down and thanked God. "You see, your hard work has spoken for you," she said with tears in her eyes. The school was very far from their village. Grace packed her little things in a small bag. She had just 2 skirts and 2 tops. Her shoes were old and had holes. But she didn't care. "I'm going to learn. I'm going to make you proud, Mummy," she said, smiling as they boarded the old village bus to the city. When she arrived at Royal Future Academy, Grace was amazed. The school was so big and beautiful. It looked like a palace. The walls were painted bright colors, and there were flowers everywhere. The students wore neat uniforms and carried big school bags. But as soon as she entered the class, many eyes turned and stared at her. Some girls whispered and laughed. "Look at her shoes. Her clothes are so old. Yuck! What is that smell?" Grace looked down. She felt ashamed. Her heart began to beat fast. In the hostel, things got worse. Her classmates started saying her corner was smelling. They pinched their noses when they passed. "Go back to your bush village. Beggar girl. Why did they bring someone like you here?" One night they poured water on her bed. She cried quietly and cleaned it with her wrapper. Some teachers didn't help matters. Because Grace came to school with torn uniforms and sometimes dirty shoes, they thought she was not serious. One teacher even said, "Are you sure this one belongs here?" Another said, "They just gave her scholarship to make poor people feel good." But Grace knew her brain brought her there. Not pity, not luck, hard work. Even though she felt alone, she remembered her father's words. "One day your brain will take you far." So she wiped her tears, opened her books, and said to herself, "I will not give up. I came here to learn and I will." It was a bright Saturday morning. The school compound was neat, and all the chairs were arranged under the big school hall. Today was PTA meeting. When parents came to school to hear how their children were doing, Grace had waited many weeks for this day. She was so happy. "My mummy is coming today," she smiled to herself. But while other parents were driving in big cars and wearing fine clothes, Grace's mother came in her simple old gown, slippers, and tied a faded wrapper on her waist. Her feet were dusty from walking all the way from the bus stop. She held her small black nylon bag and walked gently to the school gate. She looked tired, but she was smiling. When she reached the gate, the school security men stopped her. "Hey, "Where do you think you're going?" one of them shouted. "I came for the PTA meeting. I am Grace's mother," she said kindly. The men laughed. You must be mad. What beggar says she is a parent here? This is not your type of school. You want to enter here and beg for food, ABI? Before she could talk more, one guard fetched a bucket of water and poured it on her. "Leave now before we call the police," they shouted. Grace, who was inside the class, heard noise and someone screaming. Something in her heart said, "Go and check." She ran out and followed the sound. When she got to the gate, what she saw made her heart break. Her mummy, soaked with water, shivering, crying, and sitting on the ground. The guards were still mocking her. Grace's eyes filled with tears. She ran to her mummy. "Mummy, what happened? Why did they pour you water?" The guards looked shocked. You know her?" one of them asked. Grace shouted, "She is my mother. How dare you do this to her?" Just then, some students from Grace's class came by. When they saw her mother, they started laughing loudly. "That mad woman is her mother. Now we understand why Grace is always smelling. Her mother looks like someone that picks from dustbin." Grace's heart was heavy. Her eyes were red. She wanted to cry but held it in. She helped her mother up and cleaned her with her handkerchief. "Mummy, I'm so sorry," she whispered. Her mother smiled gently, even though tears were in her eyes too. "It's okay, my child. Let them laugh. What matters is you. You are the reason that I'm here," Grace said. "But they didn't let you in. You didn't attend the meeting." "I don't need to sit in a hall to be proud of you," her mother said with a shaky voice. "I know you are doing your best, and I am proud already. Don't let their words hurt you." Grace nodded slowly. Her mother held her hand tight. "Listen, Grace. Don't look at how I dress or where we come from. You came here with your brain. You are not less than anyone. Focus on your books. That is why you're here. Do you understand me?" Grace looked up and wiped her tears. "Yes, Mummy. I understand." Her mother hugged her one more time before turning to leave. As she walked away slowly, the same students that mocked her continued to laugh, pointing fingers at her. But this time Grace didn't cry. She stood tall. Because deep inside her, she knew what her mother said was true. She whispered to herself, "I will make you proud, Mummy. One day they will all see." Even though Grace was now in a big, beautiful school, life there was not easy at all. Every day people laughed at her. They whispered behind her back. They made fun of her clothes, her shoes, and her corner in the hostel. At night, Grace would cry into her pillow. And in the day when she opened her books, her mind would start thinking of all the bad things people said to her. "Maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I should go back to the village." Her head was full of sad thoughts. Because of this, her grades dropped. Her results were just average. Not bad but not great either. The teachers shook their heads. "Maybe we made a mistake giving her the scholarship," some of them said. But Grace didn't give up. She looked at the small photo of her mummy in her notebook and said, "No, I must try again. I have so much inside me. I cannot fail." From that day, Grace wiped her tears and worked harder. She read after class. She asked questions. She borrowed books from the library. Day by day, her mind became stronger. She started getting better marks, then very good marks. And by the time she was in her third year, Grace became the best student in her class. All the teachers were surprised. "Grace is doing very well," they said. Even students started talking about her. But even with the good grades, many of her classmates still didn't want to sit close to her. They still remembered where she came from. They still made fun of her clothes. But one person came close. Her name was Anita. Anita used to be the best student in the school before Grace came. She always got the highest marks. Everyone clapped for her before. But now it was Grace everyone talked about. Anita was not happy. Why is everyone praising that poor village girl? What is she doing that I'm not doing? Anita didn't really like Grace, but she came to sit beside her in class one day. "Hi Grace," she said with a fake smile. "Can I sit with you today?" Grace was surprised. No one had ever asked to sit with her before. She smiled happily. "Yes, please sit." "You're welcome." That was how their friendship started. They started reading together, eating together, and walking to class side by side. Grace was happy to finally have a friend. "Anita is my first real friend here," she told herself. She shared her notes with Anita. She even taught her some of the topics she found hard. But what Grace didn't know was that Anita still had anger in her heart. She wasn't happy that Grace was now getting all the attention from teachers and students. Inside her mind, Anita was thinking, "Everyone used to talk about me. Now they only care about Grace. She took my place." Anita smiled with Grace on the outside, but deep down she still didn't like her. Grace, on the other hand, was full of joy. She didn't know her friend was still jealous. She just wanted to love and be loved. One day, something big happened in Grace's school. The principal called an assembly. "Good morning, students," he said. "We are happy to announce that Grace has been selected to represent our school in an international competition in Abuja." Everyone clapped. The competition was organized by the Ministry of Education in Nigeria. Many smart students from different schools across the country were coming. It was a big event. Grace was shocked but happy. "Me?" she asked with wide eyes. "Yes, you," the principal smiled. "You earned it." Grace traveled to Abuja with her teachers. She stood in front of many people and answered hard questions. She solved sums. She read stories. She explained science. In the end, Grace became the top student in the whole competition. They gave her a cash award and a full scholarship to study any course of her choice at Harvard University, USA, when she finishes secondary school. Grace was full of joy. She smiled so much her cheeks hurt. When she returned to school, the whole place was filled with happiness. Students clapped. Teachers hugged her. Even the principal said, "Grace, we are so proud of you. You have made this school shine." But Anita was not happy, though she hid it. She came forward, hugged Grace, and said, "Congratulations." But inside her heart, she was boiling with anger. That prize was supposed to be mine, she thought. Before Grace came, I was the star. Now everyone has forgotten me. That night in the hostel, Anita made a wicked decision. She picked a small bottle of rat poison and hid it in her pocket. In the morning, when everyone was still sleeping, she tiptoed to Grace's table and poured the poison inside her tea flask. She smiled quietly and walked away. Later that morning, Grace drank the tea. First, nothing happened. But by break time, she started feeling dizzy. Her hands were shaking. Her stomach began to hurt badly. "Ah! My stomach! My head!" she cried. Teachers rushed her to the school clinic. Doctors checked her quickly and called the school specialist. After many tests, the school doctor said, "She drank something dangerous, but thank God. The poison was not strong enough to take her life. She is very lucky." Grace was taken to the school hospital. She slept for hours. Back at school, everyone was in shock. Who would do such a thing? Why would someone want to hurt Grace? The school began an investigation. Every student who was around Grace that morning was asked questions. Then one girl came forward. Her name was Eunice. She said, I saw Anita putting something in Grace's tea flask early this morning, but I was too scared to talk. The teachers were surprised. They called Anita in. She was shaking. First she said no. She lied. But after many questions, she finally looked down and said quietly, "Yes, I did it." The school went silent. The principal shook his head sadly. "You tried to harm another student out of jealousy," he said. They called Anita's parents and explained everything. The school also contacted the police. Later that day, Anita was picked up by the police to face punishment for what she had done. That night in the hospital, Grace finally opened her eyes. The first person she saw was her mother, sitting beside her bed, holding her hand. "Mummy," Grace said weakly. Her mother cried with joy and kissed her hand. "Thank God you're alive, my child." "I thought I was going to die," Grace said in a soft voice. "You didn't. You lived. Because your star is too bright to be taken by darkness," her mother replied. They hugged each other and cried. They also smiled, not because of the pain, but because Grace had made it. She was alive. She had achieved something great. And nothing could stop her now. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with a friend who might need some hope or encouragement today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.